All right, so in the first video, we looked at simplifying square roots. Now we're going to talk about cube roots. So now, instead of looking for pairs, we're going to be looking for groups of 3 or look for triples. Okay, so again, up here at the top, if we take a look at some of the rules, notice that anything that started out like here, this is x to the first and x to the second, our exponents in each one of these is smaller than 3, and notice what your answer is. Your answer doesn't change from the original. Okay, so if your exponent is smaller than 3, then you leave it as is. Don't touch it. All right, we're just going to leave it as is. So if your exponent is smaller than 3, leave it as is. Now, if your exponent is greater than or equal to 3, then you're going to take your exponent and divide by 3. And then remember the whole number part. So whole number becomes your exponent on the outside, and then your remainder is what's left over right under the radical. So this is exactly like the other video, only now instead of looking for pairs, we're looking for 3 of a kind. All right, so we're looking for groups of 3. Okay, so let's jump right into these. So we're going to start it exactly the same way that we did the other one. We're going to start with the number. Now, a couple things first off. Notice cube root. See how we have this little 3 here? So this is called the index. Okay, and it is absolutely imperative. It is very, very important that that 3 is there in your answer. If it's not, then it's considered a square root, and then the problem would be wrong. All right, so you have to have that 3 there to show that it's cube root. Now, when we write this 3, don't write it out front, right? And don't write it kind of like all over the place. It needs to fit right in that nook. All right there. Okay, so we're going to start with 8. We're going to do a factor tree for 8, just like before. But now we're looking for groups of 3, right? So I have, that was a really terrible 2. There we go. I have 3 2s, right? And then do I have any leftovers? We don't. So the cube root of 8 is 2, which what that means is 2 raised to the third is 8, right? So by saying the cube root of 8 is 2, it's just the opposite. That's like saying 10 minus 6 is 4, and 4 plus 6 equals 10, right? It's just the opposites of each other. All right, so then we have the cube root of x squared. Now before we said that if our exponent was smaller than 3, then we're just going to leave it. So this, we're just going to leave it exactly as is. There's nothing I can do to simplify that. And then here we have y to the 6. So again, we can think of this 2 different ways. So you can do the division thing, and this time instead of dividing by 2, we divide by 3. So I take 6 divided by 3, that gives me 2 with none left over. So that means that I have y squared on the outside. Now the other way you can think of it is you can think of I have 6 y's and I have to have groups of 3, and I group them off and I have 2 of them. All right, whichever way makes more sense to you. So then we're going to write our answer. So 2y squared cube root of x squared. So all I did was put all of these pieces together into that final answer. All right, let's try another one. So we have 24. So if I do 6 and 4. All right, now I have a group of 3 2's. Sorry, that was kind of bad. So there's 3 2's. So that goes on the outside. My leftover 3 stays under. All right, now cube root of a to the 4th. So if I take 4 divided by 3, that's 1 with a remainder 1. So this would be a cube root of a. If I have the cube root of b to the 3rd, now again, I could think of it like this. I have 3 b's. That gives me 1 group, so this would be b. And then we have the cube root of c to the 10th. So I don't want to write out 10 c's, so I think of it as 10 divided by 3 gives me 3 with a remainder of 1. So then I have c to the third on the outside and then c on the inside. All right, so now I'm going to take each one of these pieces and we're going to put it together. So everything that's outside the radical, I'm going to put outside together. So I have 2a, b, c to the third, cube root of 3ac. All right. So again, we're just looking for 3 of a kind. All right, so that's all this one is looking for 3 of a kind. So if I have 40, so I do 4 and 10. All right, we got 3 2s, so it comes on the outside, and I have 1 5 left over. Cube root of x squared, well, that 2 is smaller than 3, right? And we said if our exponent is smaller than 3, then we just leave it alone. Cube root of y to the fourth. So I'm going to think 4 divided by 3 is 1 with the remainder 1. So y to the first on the outside, and then y on the inside. And then z to the 6. So if I take 6 divided by 2, that gives me 3 with none left over. So z to the third comes on the outside. So again, we have these 4 pieces that we're going to put together as our solution. So I have 2 y z to the third, cube root. Let's see, we have, what do we have on the inside? We have a 5, an x squared, and a y. Okay, so again, I just took, here's the 5, here's the x squared, here's the y. That's how I got what was underneath the radical. So what we're doing is we're just breaking this down into pieces. So you're simplifying each piece, and then we take those pieces back together and we make one whole answer. All right, let's look at this middle one. So 54. All right, so 54. I'm just going to break this down. I have 3 3s, so 3 comes on the outside, and then 1 2 left over, so that goes under. All right, we have x to the 13th. So 13 divided by 3 is going to give me 4 with a remainder of 1. So this is the exponent on the outside. This is the exponent on the inside. So I have x to the 4th on the outside and x on the inside. And then we have y to the 14th. So I take 14 divided by 3. And that gives me 4 with a remainder of 2. So now, this is the exponent on the outside. So y to the 4th, cube root of y squared, because that comes from right here. So now I'm going to put all these pieces together. So 3x to the 4th, y to the 4th, cube root of 2x y squared. All right, so again, just looking for 3 of a kind. So this is exactly like simplifying square roots, except for now, instead of just looking for 2 of a kind, we're looking for 3 of a kind. All right, go ahead and jump down to the bottom. I want you to try these 2 down here. So pause the video, try them out, and then once you're done, unpause the video and see if you did it correctly. So go ahead and work it out. So pause the video and go ahead and work it out. All right, hopefully you've paused it, you've done the work, and now you're coming back. So 42, we have 6 and 7, 2 and 3. Now, notice I don't have 3 of a kind. So guess what? This is going to stay the cube root of 42. I can't simplify it. So then the cube root of x to the 4th. So you can think of it as 4 x's. I'm looking for a group of 3. So I have one group of 3, and I have 1 left over. Y squared, we said if our exponent is smaller than 3, then we're just going to leave it alone. We don't do anything with it. And then z, not y, z to the 7th. So again, I think of this as 7 divided by 3 gives me 2 with a remainder of 1. So then this is the exponent on the outside, so z squared. This is the exponent on the inside. And now I take these pieces and I put them all together. So on the outside, I have x z squared cube root of 42 x y squared z. And there's your answer. All right, if you haven't done so already, pause the video and go ahead and complete this last one. If you've already done it, then continue to watch. So we have 100. All right, I only have 2 of each thing. I don't have 3. So guess what? This is going to stay the cube root of 100. And then I have a cube root of a. Well, technically there's a 1 on there, right? And so 1 is smaller than 3, so I'm just going to leave that exactly as is. B to the 4th, we're going to take 4 divided by 3 gives me 1 remainder 1, so this is going to be b, cube root of b. And then we have cube root of c to the 8th, so 8 divided by 3 gives me 2 with a remainder of 2. So we have c squared, cube root of c squared. Again, if the dividing thing doesn't make sense to you, then draw out the c's. Here's a group of 3. Here's a group of 3. So there's 2 groups of 3. So that comes out. And then these 2 that are left over, that stays under. All right, and then we're going to put all this together. So I have on the outside b and c squared. So b, c squared, cube root. I have underneath, I have 100, b, c squared. And there's your answer. All right, if you have any other questions, make sure you come and talk to me, and I'll be happy to go over this with you one more time.